I'll give you a little intro and we'll get cracking. Welcome to the Regen Room. Today we are speaking with Jessica Pritchard. Jessica is firstly a friend of mine, but also she's been on a journey from social media influencer to Bondi bin chicken, and now she's started her own business selling recycled plastic that she's picked up off beaches around Australia to make jewellery out of. So how are you going, Jess? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me on, Josh.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that journey, the story, of where you've come from and how you've got to be where you are now selling recycled plastic jewellery?
Yeah, sure. It's a bit of a journey. It's so the social media stuff, I think everyone's can understand why social media is so toxic for a lot of people. Because in my opinion, it is just a window that you look through to other people's lives and you don't get the whole picture. So a lot of about being an influencer at the time was just appearing perfect. So I would Photoshop all my photos. I would buy all these expensive clothes, expensive jewelry to try and get shout outs and get more followers. And it was just my whole life was about the number next to my name. And I just didn't see how toxic that was at the time because my friends were all in the same place. I was in that circle of friends that validated that toxic behaviour. So I remember having a wine outside of my place with this German girl that I was working with at a bar a couple of years ago. And I asked her, I was like, hey, have you seen my new Instagram picture? It was just a modelling one that I thought was really good. And she was like, oh, everyone has Instagram. What's wrong with you? And she wouldn't tell me why. And I was like, Lara, we're such good friends. You can tell me. And she was like, look, when I was 12, 13, I was anorexic and bulimic because of the girls on Instagram that looked like you. And I couldn't understand why I didn't look like that. And that was just a real wake-up call for me because she was literally the smartest girl I know. She topped year 12 in Germany, and I just didn't understand how a girl so smart could be influenced by something so stupid like Instagram. Now that I look back at it, it just seems so stupid what I was doing. And I was from that day on, I just wanted to stop. So stopped photoshopping all my photos. I didn't post for a really, really long time before I wanted to figure out what my journey was from this. I went to Asia, and then I think I had a few little awakenings in Asia, but nothing really started until I met Adam Axford, the magician. Big shout out to what he's doing. He's the environmentalist. He does magic around the environment and awareness and that. So I owe a lot to him. So we started doing some plastic-free videos for Plastic-Free July, and last year Plastic-Free July was the start of the whole environmental thing, just falling in love with the ocean, learning to surf, meeting all the right people, joining Surfrider. It was just a snowball effect from there. And then you just find out all about all these really important things like climate change, and you just can't help but not give a shit. So that whole journey started from just wanting to clean up the beach. But I think because a couple of dead whales washed up at the same time. Around the same time I was making videos with Adam, and I felt this really deep pull towards the ocean. And I think it's because this is going to sound so hippie because I'm wearing these glasses right now, but I do genuinely believe that I was a whale in a past life, and that's why I had that really deep call to clean up the beach that day, because whales die all the time from ingesting plastic. Started cleaning up the Bondi Beach maybe once a week, and then I had all this plastic that I didn't know what to do with. I just kept it. It was really, really special to me. And then I went to Western Australia and I cleaned up 60 days worth of plastic, a beach a day. And from that moment on, I was kind of like a roller coaster. I'd take 3 for the sea, wanting my content. I had people just giving me all these words of encouragement. I met the most beautiful people I've ever met in Western Australia, and still really good friends with all of them. And they really liked the journey that I was on. Got back to Sydney and I had more plastic and I didn't know what to do with. And just by chance, the universe sent me a sign I was at the farm in Killalea, and a guy who was a photographer wanted to take photos of my van that I built while I was there. And he was like, why do you have all this plastic in your van? And I was like, I smuggled it from Western Australia into New South Wales. And he was like, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, I don't know, like I maybe turn it into jewelry. And he's like, I know a jewelry teacher who lives around the corner from you. And I was like, that's it. That's where it started. So
what I love about your story is it's just so real.
That's the story. And now I'm making jewelry. It's going really, really well. 30 back orders. I've got every single person.
I was just saying what I love about your story and you, Jess, is that you're just so real. Like how you've come from that, with the social media background and like a lot of this toxic kind of culture that we experience as young Australians. I don't think it's kind of talked about or aired out enough, but there is these kind of toxic, thought patterns and habits and behaviors that, we're just kind of ingrained into us from a young age these days. So I think it's really healthy to, air that out. And actually the journey you've been on, it's kind of like regenerating from that place of toxicity to this place of really holisticness now with, you've cleaned up the beaches, you're caring for the environment, and then you're actually giving back by doing something with all of that recycled plastic. And that's what I love about it. And I'm just curious because you kind of mentioned, how you've met all these people and everything's kind of aligned for you really well. And, I was interested to know what part of it really lights you up the most. Is it caring for the environment? Is it connecting with the people? Is it all of it? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it has happened really naturally. Because I think once you get to that point of not caring about what other people think, you just get into this sort of state, this state of flow, like this just go with the flow kind of thing. And like you sort of start thinking everything does happen for a reason. And once you're in that state of mind, you take the good with the bad, and you can just be really, really genuine with people. And I think when you're really genuine with people, they're genuine with you. And I think when I look back to a couple of years ago, I was being so fake to so many people, not being myself. And now that I'm in this kind of flow state, I've met people like yourself, and I feel like I'm not alone. Because I think when you're in that toxic place, you just feel so alone because you're not being yourself. And so I'm going to have to say it's the people that I met. It's just the best part of it, because without the people that I have met, I wouldn't be doing this. Like if I hadn't have met, let's say for example, if I hadn't have bought my van in a rush because it was a shoebox and it didn't last, but if I hadn't have bought that van, I wouldn't have built it in time to meet Justine, who you've met a few times, I think, at the Bondi Ghetto. And she came to my farm for literally a day, and I accidentally broke her feet with a tractor. So if that's not a thing, like everything that I was like saying, everything happens for a reason. That was obviously a terrible thing to happen, but she stayed with me for 2 weeks. And then I found out that she could build websites, and she's like a genius at it. And to be fair, I had to wheel her around in a wheelchair, and I had to physically like do everything for her. But she built my website for Ripple, and if I hadn't have met her, I probably would have had to pay $1,000 for someone to do it anyway, and it wouldn't have been what it looks like now, because it looks incredible, and I can't wait for people to see it. So yeah, it's just like the people I'm really grateful for in my life right now are my really close friends, because they're now the ones validating this behavior. I do not have a single friend that tells me, oh, I think you've cooked it. Like, why would you make jewelry out of plastic on the beach? Like, no one ever said that to me. Like, I wouldn't be friends with anyone like that. So yeah, it's that support system from your friends that's so important.
For sure. 100%. And, you just came through the Activated Human program with a pilot program that I ran through winter with a group of, friends, I guess. We're all friends now, and the people that I reached out to were kind of closely knit into my network. And, I'm just curious, what was your experience with that program? Did it challenge you at all? Did it change the way you think? How do you feel after coming through that?
Look, I think everyone in that program was already in that flow state. Because everyone's just doing their own beautiful thing with climate change and their own programs. So I think we were all very much on the same page when it came to what we wanted out of the program. In saying that, I did learn a lot. two things stuck out to me, I think, was the deep listening week. I think I do have a tendency to be really loud and like really forward and everything, but like that deep listening, which was the Dadiri week, I was at Robertson and I did a lot of meditation that week, and just listening to nature and being reminded to be sort of one with nature, to be surrounded by it was really important for me to slow down and be patient with this journey, because I'm not very good at being patient. I have never been. So that deep listening one was really, really good for me. And then there was another week where it was forgiveness. I think, I remember telling you I made up with like 3 old friends that week, and it was just like stupid. Now that I think about it, they were stupid fights. They were really dumb reasons to hold on to a grudge. And I did that meditation and I focused on that forgiveness, and it was just so easy from there. Just because I know that everyone else was in the same place, and that support system allowed me to do that, I think, especially because we had our one-on-one calls every week, and I feel like we were just like, Josh, I need to vent. And you were listening, and that helped. It was just like being able to have those friends that listen to you and actually care about your problems is so, so important for mental health. And I'm really lucky in that way. So I feel like people that go through the Activated Human program, if they are going through personal things, and they are holding a lot of grudges, I feel like this program is just so, so helpful for the people that are struggling with mental health, as well as looking for a reason to be on this journey. And I actually wrote something down. I did my homework when you asked me to, for one. I did want to read this because it's just it sums up perfectly like what it felt like to go through that. So I feel like by the time I went through all of the journey, my self-discovery, so I went through the self-discovery of through those many years. What I wanted to say there is I did this by myself. I went from toxic Instagram to what I'm doing now. I did that by myself, and it took me about 2.5 years. So what I'm trying to say here is I think I would have, if I had done this Activated Human program 2 years ago, I would be making jewelry 6 months after that. Do you know what I mean? Like it just saved me, it would have saved that person a lot of time, because all the answers are given to you right then and there. All the people that you need to start that journey are right there. The friendships that you need, that support, it would have saved me a lot of time. Not that I regret any of the time I spent on the journey, but that's pretty much what I wrote down. But not being alone in this journey is what I'm most grateful for, I think.
Thanks, Jess. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad you had such a good experience, and I'm stoked to be able to be connecting with you just constantly. Even before that, you were helping out a lot when I was planning the big bike ride, and ever since we met, we've just formed this kind of strong friendship, which is just so nice. And now after the program, we're obviously still connecting and doing the good work that needs to be done from our own unique perspective. So yeah, thank you for that. And I'm curious, back onto the beach cleaning stuff. How can you share with us one of the biggest lessons you've learned cleaning beaches?
Well, one sentence has always stood out to me, is one piece of plastic can kill or injure 1,000 animals in its lifetime, which is just huge. Like when you think about that, like if you've ever used a plastic bottle, like that's the mark you leave on the earth, is that can end up in the ocean and kill or injure 1,000 animals. And like that karma and that energy is just, I can't imagine what the future is going to be like with the amount of plastic in the ocean that there already is. But I guess for me, hope really isn't enough. People sit there and they hope that things will get better, but direct action is what I started doing. And I started cleaning a beach, and that for me was the direct action to making the world a better place. And the fact that I've picked up one piece of plastic saves 1,000 animals. And when you're thinking about the butterfly effect and how the balance in the earth is so fragile. And maybe that one animal that you saved is the tipping point for that entire species being able to regenerate. So you don't know what kind of effect that your actions are going to have down the track. But if you're doing them with good intentions, then of course you're going to make a difference, and your life is going to be better because of it. So I've made 32 pieces now from the coral. So the Coral Bay collection is the colourful ones.
How's that ring of mine coming along?
Look, it's on the way. It was my birthday this week, so probably this.
We'll let you go, eh? We'll let you go with that one.
Yeah, so these ones are the Esperance collection. So this is a really good example, was why I called it the Esperance collection, because when I did the beach cleaning in Esperance in Western Australia, that was by far the dirtiest beach I've ever cleaned. And it's the most beautiful beach in the world. Wharton Beach is just around the corner from Lucky Bay. And it's just like, there was people all over the beach and they just couldn't see what was below their feet, which was, I have to say, probably the majority of what I picked up in Western Australia was from that beach. So
wow.
If people put value on one piece of plastic because of that ripple effect, that's why I called the jewelry brand Ripple, because if you do that one small action, it actually has a huge impact. You don't have to feel like you can do nothing, because you can do a lot.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, maybe consider that question that Jess put, mentioned. What direct action can you take? Like, what's the direct action you can take today to start you on that journey?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jess.
It's so simple. Yeah.
And just to kind of finish up, the question I ask people at the end of these conversations is, if you had one piece of advice for humanity right now, what would that be?
That's heavy. One piece of advice for humanity. I am actually going to refer to the Activated Human program here.
Yeah.
The first week you asked us to say one word that resonates with us, a word that was resonating with us for that week. And I said love. And I think if you walk through your day with just love in your heart, and love for other people, and love for humans, animals, everything, I don't know, I think your life, your life will just improve a lot, because you don't need to hate anyone. It's just, it's unnecessary. So if you love everyone, including yourself, which is very important, the world's going to be a lot better place.
Is that why you put those glasses on? Are they the love glasses?
These are the love glasses.
So you just walk around all day looking through the love glasses?
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone, you know what? Buy a pair of these. Your life will improve.
We'll find one at an op shop.
I think you won't, because these are very special. I think these are the only ones that exist. But
maybe everyone has like their own unique pair of love glasses.
Exactly. Yeah. Just have your own style and just love everyone.
Yeah. All right, that's perfect. Thanks, Jess. Thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Josh.
Take it easy. You too.